sorry, that I think I've turned the video off rather than restart. So that's D finished. There we go, all done. And so now we need to do C, which slightly a few more pieces in C, as you can see. So we need to find where we're going to start. So we want C1 and C2. So I think you should be able to follow the process now. So I'm going to remove C1 label. I must admit this glue sticks pretty well. Anyway, rather it worked too well than not at all. I don't think that shows through that well on there, but there's a good seam allowance all the way around. I can see it. So I'm going to just pop a dab of glue onto C1. There we go. Put that away. And then pop that pin back in. There we go. If I go that way, that's probably going to be easier. Keep it in the centre. There it is. So now I want C2. Plenty everywhere else, yeah. C2. 1/4 of an inch. Let me just push that up higher. 1/4 of an inch. That's that. Close the knife. So then we have A to A on that seam. So if I just place that there, bring that over this, I hope that shows through. That template section is over that template. Hold that back, hold it, just offer up the fabric. Push that mat out of the way. There we go. So we'll sew in next to the paper again. There we go. Now I felt like I came out at a curve there, so I'm just going to redo this line again. That's it, yes, just a width of thread. But because these seams are not going to be pressed open, it doesn't matter. I'm going to trim that. I'm going to trim this one first. There we go. So that's that. Bring that right back. There we go. Move that out of the way. And move that paper. Finger press. So we've got C1 to C2. So I'm just going to leave this edge for the time being because that's a different section. So we want C3. I'm going to turn this round the other way round just so it's easier for me to trim. There we go, 1/4 of an inch. Move that out of the way. So, got C3 that way, C3 that way, B to B. So if we offer this up, there we go, that's sitting in there nicely. See if we can pick up these two seams. We pick up edge to edge. As near to edge to edge. There we go. from the end. There we are. So peel that off. Bring that over, finger press, then roll. Now this would normally be white, but you wouldn't have seen that at all. So there we go, that's that corner. So now we're C4. So I'm going to trim this line. There we go, C4. We want C4. So have C4, C4, C to C, there's our C. So there we go, we lay that one on there. There's plenty of fabric all the way around again. I'll just pull that back a touch, peel it back and lift this up. That should be fine. Edge of paper all the way along. If you're unsure, just double check your seam allowance. Oh, I'm not trimming anything off that. I'm going to remove that paper. Finger press. So we've got C4 and we're going to C5. So we fold again. I'm going to add the 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay. So now we want C4. C5, sorry. C5 is going to join C4. So C5, C5, and D to D. So I lay that on there, go down a bit, down, just twist it a little more, down there. There we go, that's where we need to be, just there. So we'll just pull that back, and then just lift that onto it. So the fabric's right side together. There we go. Take that paper off. Now I can see that that's covered there. Turn that over. So the next one is C5 to C6. So we'll fold back, trim. It does allow you to move through this large unit at what feels like a quicker pace. So now we want C6. So that's C6. And then, so there we go. So that's where we've got an E and an E on there. So if we put that over, so that's round about, I'll just swap that around. There we go, that's it. So if we go there, pull that back, Go there. Bring that one in. We'll trim this one off. Paper. So there we go. Finger press. So there we are. I'm just going to trim this outside side edge just to take some of this excess off. There we go. There we are. So that makes it, that looks a bit tidier now. So now we want 7. So there we have. So now we're going to trim. There was 3 or 4 pieces that have joined in the centre for this, for number 7 to cover. Let's see if I can cut this in one. There we go. So this is number 7. There we go. Place that on there. Now, what when I just looked at that, it was like, my goodness, what have I done wrong? But actually, you have to remember there's a C8 that goes on. That's the point of that one. So panic over that. We haven't done anything wrong. It's just that it's going to be elongated as well. So if I can just pick that up without moving it too far up or too far down. There we go. It's quite a long run, this one. There we go. Bring that down, take that paper away, just try to bring it back in shot. So that's all covered. Yeah. I don't know whether you can see all of that because it's quite a long, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we've got C8. So we're going to trim seam allowance. And C8. 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 And there's F. F. So that's just sort of offset. There we go. There's that. There's that. There we go. Just on the edge. We'll trim this unit down and we can remove. Well, what I shall do is I shall go to pause again. Move that paper. I want to press these blocks before we sew the units together. Just going to trim. Let's trim this one. So there we go. I think you can see that. There's that, and there we go. So trimmed. There's the rotary cutter, take the pin away. There we go. Yes, I know they're a bit odd colours, but it was the only way to do this one, just so that you could see where we were headed. Right, I shall put this on pause again, press these because you don't need to see me pressing them, and then we shall join these units together. So back soon. So here we go. I've pressed each unit, and if you look just here, there we go. Can we see that? Yes. So I'm going to join A to B first. I shall just move this to the side. Turn the machine back on. Take it back down to 1.8. There we go. So we're back just to 1/4 inch seams now. There is quite an overhang at each end. I might use a thread catcher in a moment. Let me just find a scrap. There we go, just a scrap. Scissors. Take that off there. I'm just going to press that while the iron's still warm. So that's A. So I'm going to add D to F. Again, there's quite a dog ear each end. That's it. Stitch off straight on. 1/4 inch seam. Just going to stitch back onto this. So there's that, and there's that. And so now we're going to join E to F. So what we need to do now is just take the pin through where you think you have 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can use the ruler to just mark a dot if that helps you. Can you see that? I'm just going to take that over a touch so that seam, I'm hoping that seam will match that seam. So I'm just going to go to there. There we are. Just going to stitch up to the needle, not onto it. One more. Out. And leave to look. There we go. And snip off there. So then we've got AB to join to this main unit. That one looks as if that should sit onto that seam. I shall just pop a pin there along the edge of that seam, and then if that's about 1/4 inch, that should marry up, we hope. So there we go, 1/4. There we go. So the ears. It will snip those ears off just now. There we are. Snip that off. Snip that there. Okay. So put that there. Not sure the iron's hot enough to do this, but I've done it anyway. So then C should go to this BD unit. Now I think there are definitely 2 seams that need to be matched here. So if I find, right, so if I start here with this seam, which looks as if that should match-ish. There's that. And then I have to say that that should be round about there. Try a pin in that. Put up and 1/4 inch. Again, stitch up to the needle. 1, 2, needle out. This is where, with foundation piecing, quite often you've got a couple of biased edges, and this is where you need to just take extra care that they don't stretch as you try to join these long seams. Even though you take care not to there we go. That's it. For some reason, when you stitch this C unit on, it takes you along this dog ear, but actually you need to come to the end of this, what you would probably have as a white fabric for your background. It's quite deceptive actually, that take that off, move that out of the way. There we go. That just needs pressing now, and it's a bit funky, but there we go. We've got through that one. What I shall do now is I'm going to press this, and I'm going to add a border of 1.5 inch just to frame it. And what you'll have is a selection of, so there's a red one. I didn't have many reds left, so that's why there's not as much contrast as I would have liked. So there's yellow, which I think turned out really well. And we've got blue or sapphire. So there we go. Yeah, so that's a sapphire. Then we've got green or emerald. And then last but not least, yesterday I did a purple heart. And this just needs a border, which I shall do in a little while. And then it's a set of placemats, actually, which they'll come out finished at 10 by 9 inch. Those placemats, that's what they measure. You could probably make it into a small quilt if you wanted to, but I would still frame each unit, a border or sashing, whatever you wanted to call it. You could do one pieced and then one plain and alternate them to make a small quilt, which could be quite pretty. One thing I didn't say right at the very beginning, which I should have done, before you begin, fold each solid line over and crease, and then fold back on the opposite way and crease so that it's hinged, and do that on every single solid line. I should have told you that one at the very beginning. So I shall show you. That's the layout for the colourway that I thought made sense. But if you look at there is a picture on the website, on the Moda website, of the red one, and it wasn't really easy to decide which value was which, to be honest. Some of them all look quite dark, so I kind of had to guess. But I think on these lighter coloured ones, it does actually make sense. So I think they've worked out quite well. And again, that was what was required. Will that just fit all on there? Yep. That's what was required. I'll leave that for a few more seconds. Then that was the order of placement when you come to construct these units. And again, the instructions are not really very clear, and you have to kind of guess where you think. You may even decide you want E to F first and then add D after. The choice is yours, really. I felt like it made sense to me to D, F, then E. But again, that's for you to try. I hope that makes sense. I would appreciate comments, constructive criticism welcome. And if it didn't make sense, is there something I could do to make it simpler to follow? I'm not really sure what else I could do now to simplify this. I feel like I've taken it right back to basics and stripped it all the way back. I'm not sure what else I could do apart from pinning it together for you, which I'm afraid we're limited by the limitations of technology, means I can't actually do that. So enjoy anyway. Thank you very much. Bye.